Hi everyone, it's Lindy on from Pink Whisper Designs. Today I wanted to show you how to make a cute little Christmas ornament using some new products from Art Impressions. And this little set is designed to create a card, but we're going to re-engineer it a little bit and create an ornament today. So let's go ahead and get started. So this is the brand new watercolor snow globe set from Art Impressions, and you can see all the images you get that you can place inside your snow globe. You get the base of the snow globe there and a sentiment, and then you get this circle die, and this is going to be to die cut out the center of your card for your snow globe. We're going to be doing something a little different today. We're going to be creating an ornament instead. So let's go ahead and snip away those extra pieces, which you get a few snowflakes and a couple leaves, so that's a really nice little collection. So you can see that circle die is going to fit right over the globe. Now those little snow globe domes are sold separately, so I will list and link all the products I'm using today down below, as well as those little domes. So let's go ahead and die cut some of those circles. So I've got that circle die from that same set. I'm going to die cut two of these from some Strathmore Bristol Smooth 100-pound cardstock, and I'm running those through the Sizzix Sidekick machine. Now to create a little snowy border, I'm going to grab the Lawn Fawn Hillside Border dies. And I'm just going to grab one of those. I'm going to tape it to one of those circles and run that through the Sizzix Sidekick machine, and that'll give us a little snowy border for the bottom. You certainly can just tear a little piece of cardstock here, but I thought it would be fun to have that pretty stitch border at the top of the snow. Now I've got some Speckled Egg Distress Oxide ink, and I've got a little blending brush, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that color to the top of the snow. And then I'll add that color to the entire background of this circle. I'm just grabbing some scrap paper there because I was getting some fingerprints on my little circle. So that'll just kind of keep it clean while I'm finishing up doing my ink application. So now I've got some peacock feathers. And what I want to do is have that come up just over the snow line. So I'm just kind of following along where that snow line was and creating a little bit of a shadow there at the bottom. So I'll just blend that out nicely. I'm going back to that lighter ink and blending again. Now I've got the Doc Martens bleed proof white ink, and just a little bit of this goes a long way. I'm going to put a little dab on my glass medium mat, spritz that with a little bit of water, and then we'll spatter this panel to give it a nice snowy look. And this bleed proof white stays nice and bright white, so I really love this. Now we're also going to add a little sparkle to this, so I did set that aside to dry quickly. You could use your heat tool to set that as well. And then I'm going to grab two more stamps while that is drying. I've got the little church and the base for the snow globe. Let's go ahead and place those in the Mini Misty stamp positioner. And I'm using the VersaFine Onyx black ink to do my stamping. Let's quickly color in these items, and I'm going to start off with the Sugared Almond Pink. So I'm sure you noticed that I'm going to create a pretty pink ornament with a little bit of kind of a teal color in it. I like to make a special ornament for a friend of mine every Christmas. So this is the one that I'm going to make for her this year, and she loves that teal color. She's been incorporating that into her Christmas collection. So I thought this would be fun to add to her little Christmas ornament collection. And I'm listing the colors I'm using in that upper left-hand corner as we're going along. And these are the Zig Clean Color Real Brush pens, and they are a water-based pen, and I'm using the Zig Blender pen to do my blending. Now to do the base, I'm going to do the top and the bottom in the Cool Gray number 3, and I'll just put it a little bit of color on each side, and then I'll pull that in towards the center. You can always add a little bit more color, or you could grab a darker gray to do some more shadowing. Whatever you prefer. I'm just going to use this one color today. And then for the center section, of course, we're going to use the pink. We'll go back to that same sugared almond pink and fill in the center. So again, these are really fun to make a whole little collection of ornaments. I do like to make a special ornament each year. So when I saw this set, that's the first thing that popped into my head. But certainly check out the Art Impressions blog for lots of inspiration on this watercolor set. There are some really beautiful cards there that you can take a look at. So now for a bit of sparkle, I've got my Wink of Stella clear glitter pen, and I'm going to add a little sparkle to the roof and to that pink section of the base of the snow globe. So you can get a closer look at that. And I did decide to add some of that Wink of Stella to this entire snowy panel. So once that's all done, let's let those dry for a second. And then I've got that Wink of Stella again. I'm going to squeeze a little bit down onto my glass media mat. I'll add a little water to that, and then I'm going to quickly spatter this. And again, that will give us a little sparkle mixed in with that white snow. I'm going to grab my detail scissors, and we'll go ahead and cut out the church and that little base for the snow globe. Now I'm going to grab the two trees from the set, and these are just so pretty. So I'll grab that larger one and that smaller one. And then we're going to do some stamping right along that snow line. So what I'm going to do is place that down, get a rough idea where I want those trees to be, and then I'll just slide that border down just a little bit and grab a pencil and mark that. So that pencil line won't show afterwards. We've just slid it down about maybe 1/4 of an inch. Now I've got my watercolor travel box from Art Impressions, and you get 3 acrylic blocks and a little palette, and this fits nicely any of your little travel supplies. So you could put your brushes in there or your zig markers in there. Now let's grab the 2 inks we're going to be using. And these are the Distress Mini Die inks. These are from Tim Holtz. And I've got Mowed Lawn and Rustic Wilderness. So I'm going to start off with that lighter green, add a little bit of that darker. I'm tipping that ink pad on its side a little bit so that I was just adding that darker color down the center of that tree. So this will give us a nice variety of color in our trees. So they're not just flat in one color. This will just add a little bit more dimension to them. And I'm going to just kind of check and see where my little church is going to be, and then we'll add a few more of these trees. And this is really fun to do. And I'm just checking here to make sure that I've got everything positioned. And I did decide to add a few more trees. I was only going to add them to the right, but I did decide to add a few more behind that church as well. So once that's all done, you can see that up close. We can go ahead and grab the Nuvo Deluxe Adhesive and glue this little snowy border down. And then I did decide to pop up the church. So I'm going to use the scrapbook.com double-sided adhesive squares. I'll just place a few of those along the back and pop that up. Now, you could certainly make a shaker card out of this. I chose not to, but I kind of wish that I had, to be honest with you. So if you want to create a shaker card, you can easily do that because it does have this dome that we're going to be placing on, and you could easily put some clear glitter in there for a really pretty snowy effect. But rather than doing that, I decided to put some little iridescent stars in the background. So let's go ahead and pop that up, and you can see that dome will fit nicely. So you don't want to pop anything up too high. You do want to take the dimensions of that dome into consideration. Now I'm going to stamp this snow globe base once again. I've got a larger piece of Strathmore Bristol Smooth cardstock because we are going to be tracing out that circle right above it. So let's go ahead and stamp this. And next, from the nested circle dies from Art Impressions, I'm going to grab that sixth largest one, and we'll go ahead and lay that right over the snow globe. So I want to make sure it's sitting right on top of the base of the snow globe, and then I'm going to trace that with my pencil. So we need to create the base for our ornament. So I thought this was the best way to do it. Now you may come up with some different ways to do this, but for me this worked out just fine. So what I'll do is use those detail scissors and cut out that entire piece. I've got the Lawn Fawn Ballet Slippers cardstock, a nice heavyweight 100-pound cardstock, and I'm going to trace that piece that we just cut out onto the Ballet Slippers cardstock as well. And we'll trim that one out. So we have two now. We'll have a white one and the pink one. And then I'll just line them up together just to make sure they're the exact same size. If not, you can just trim one or the other down just a little bit, just to make sure that they'll line up perfectly when you go to glue these together. So now I'm just checking here to see what everything's going to look like. So now what I need to do is cut that circle that came with the die set, with the stamp set, out of the center of the white snow globe. So let's go ahead and die cut that. And you can see that'll fit in there perfectly. So using that same smaller die that came with the watercolor snow globe set, and then that larger die that we used to trace out the circle previously, let's go ahead and line these two up onto some of that same Ballet Slippers cardstock, and I'm just going to create a frame. So I want to center those two. I want an equal distance all the way around between the two dies, and that'll give us a really nice frame. Next thing, I wanted to create a little hanger for the top of the ornament, and I really couldn't decide what to do here. And then I decided to take the mini journal template set from Art Impressions. This is a brand new set that creates a little tiny mini journal, and it's got all the little pieces and layers that you need. It even has a sentiment in there. It's got a little strap and buckle kind of thing, and so it's really cute. So I'm going to grab that little piece there. I went ahead and die cut that, and then all we need to do is fold it in half, and that'll create the little topper for the ornament. And it's already got a little hole in it, so we can thread our twine through there. So I'm folding it in half. Let's go ahead and set that aside. I've got some picked raspberry distress oxide ink. I'm going to go around the edges. This will be the back of the ornament. I'm going to go all the way around the edges just to finish that off a little bit. And then let's go ahead and do the same thing for the little frame. And this will be on the front of the card. So once we have that all done, let's go ahead and just see that those two will line up just perfectly. Now I do want to stamp a sentiment on the back of the ornament. So I think I'll do that now while everything's nice and flat. So I'm going to grab the sentiment from that same snow globe set. I'm just centering it. And then we'll go ahead and stamp that. And that is going to say, "Have yourself a merry little Christmas." And the font on this is just so pretty. I really like it. It's very cute. So let's go ahead and stamp that. I like to stamp it a couple of times, just very lightly, just because it is a detailed sentiment and I want it to come out nice and crisp. I'm going to edge that little topper just a little bit on both sides because it will show from both sides. Now we can start to build the snow globe. I've got the pink piece and the white piece with the center cut out of there, and I'm going to just temporarily tape these two together. I've got a little bit of post-it tape, and I'll just tape those down while I put the center in place, and I'm just using that to line that up perfectly. You certainly don't have to tape those together if you don't want to, but I just wanted everything to stay nice and straight. I didn't want anything to slide around. So now that I have that in place, let's add a few little things to the globe. This is the Scary Fun Buttons Galore and More set. of little sequins, but you can see in this set you get those little tiny star shapes. They're little iridescent stars. I'm going to grab 3 of those and place those inside the snow globe. Again, you could create a shaker card with this, so keep that in mind. But I'm just going to place those little stars in there. Let's remove that temporary tape. Now I want to place the little topper on there, but first let's get that snow globe in place. So that has a little sticky back on it. So I'm removing that release paper and I'm going to stick this down. I'm just taking a little bit of time to make sure I line that up right over my image. Once that's in place, I can press that out really well. Now here's where if you had some shaker elements in there, you do want to make sure you press that down really tightly so that none of your little shaker elements escape from that little globe. Now I'm going to add a little bit of glue to the white one and we'll place that over top. Now again, I'm sure there's several ways to create a little ornament. This worked for me. I wanted 3 layers of cardstock. I wanted it to be nice and thick. I wanted, because it is an ornament, wanted to have a little substance. So we've got the pink layer in the back, then we've got this white layer, and then I also wanted to be able to hide this little tab from the front of the ornament. So from the back, you'll see that entire tab. You can see I just put a little glue down on one edge. I'll put a little glue on this edge, and then I'm going to tuck this between the pink layer and the white layer. So let's go ahead and glue that down, and now I'll add my frame. Just want to put plenty of glue there, and then glue this down. I'm just pressing that in place, and then I will grab my bone folder and just make sure that's pressed down nicely. And all we have to do now is add the base of the snow globe, so I'm going to go ahead and pop that in place. You want to take a little time, make sure you push that right up underneath there so it lines up really well. I'll put plenty of glue on this as well. Now we have that nice thick cardstock. So we've got 3 layers of cardstock. So I feel like that's pretty secure. You could certainly add more layers if you feel that you want it to be a little bit thicker. I'll just go around those edges with that pink just to finish everything off, taking away any of those white edges. And if things didn't line up just exactly perfectly, that pink will just hide all of that for you. And then I've got some pink baker's twine, pink and white, and I'm going to wrap that around the base of the snow globe, and then we'll tie a little bow. I'm going to use my little reverse tweezers to hold that in place while I tie that bow. It sort of acts as a little extra set of hands and makes it a lot easier to tie things. Then I just spent a little time adjusting that, and then we can just trim away any excess. You could add a little jingle bell or something to that as well. That would be actually really cute. So now I've die cut some of these little snowflakes from that same set of dies that came with this snow globe set, and I'll add 3 of them to the back. Again, because it is an ornament, I wanted the back to be just as pretty as the front. Let's add a few gems. I've got these really pretty gems. These are from the Pinkfresh Studio Essentials Jewel Mix. And there are 3 different sizes in the mix, so it's really nice. I'm going to grab a few different sizes for these snowflakes. I just put one in the center, just using my little pickup tool to place those down. It just makes it a lot easier to pick up all these little gems. And then I did decide to add 3 to the front of the ornament, which I did off camera, but I will show you that here in a second. So there you can see those 3 little gems at the very top of the ornament. Let's take some of that same twine and feed it through to create the little hanger. I'm just going to loop that from the back to the front and then pull on that, and then we'll just tie a little knot. Let's take a closer look at the finished ornament, and do keep in mind that all of the products I've used today are listed and linked down below and also on my blog. So I really hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please hit the like button and subscribe. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so that you don't miss a single video. As always, thank you so much for joining me today. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you all have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.